A golden retriever vanishes from a peaceful suburban neighborhood. A teenage girl claims she found him abandoned, becoming a local hero for rescuing the pup. But when the original owners spot their beloved Max on social media, everything changes. In a courtroom filled with tension, Judy Sheindlin faces her most baffling case yet, unraveling a web of deception that goes far deeper than a simple lost dog story. The Thompsons were the kind of family everyone in Cedar Grove knew and trusted. Michael and Karen Thompson had lived in their brick colonial house for 15 years, raising their 2 children and Max, their beloved 7-year-old golden retriever. Max wasn't just a pet. He was the heart of their home, greeting neighbors on morning walks and bringing smiles to local children at the park. Cloey Mitchell moved to Cedar Grove 6 months ago, quickly becoming the neighborhood's favorite babysitter. At 17, she portrayed the perfect image of responsibility: straight-A student, volunteer at the local animal shelter, and social media influencer promoting pet adoption. Parents praised her mature demeanor, and younger kids adored her cheerful personality. No one questioned her integrity. That Wednesday morning started like any other. Karen let Max out for his usual morning routine in their fenced backyard while she prepared breakfast. When she called him back 10 minutes later, silence answered. The gate stood slightly ajar, something that had never happened before. The Thompsons always double-checked the latch. The family launched an immediate search. Michael called in late to work, their children stayed home from school, and neighbors joined the effort. Cloey appeared particularly concerned, organizing search parties and creating missing pet posters. She spent hours walking the neighborhoods, calling Max's name, and posting updates on social media about the missing dog. 3 days passed without a trace. The Thompsons were devastated. Then came Cloey's announcement on Instagram. She'd found an abandoned golden retriever matching Max's description in a town 30 miles away. She claimed the dog had no collar or microchip, and she'd already started adoption procedures through a local rescue organization. The Thompsons' relief at finding Max quickly turned to confusion. The rescue organization had no record of Cloey's adoption application. The veterinary clinic she claimed had checked the dog couldn't confirm her story. Small inconsistencies began piling up, but Cloey maintained her version of events with unwavering confidence. What truly raised suspicions was Max's behavior in Cloey's social media photos. The dog appeared anxious, something entirely out of character for their friendly pet. More telling was his response to specific commands only the Thompsons used, commands Cloey somehow knew in her videos. Karen noticed other details. Max's distinct heart-shaped birthmark under his right ear was visible in one photo, yet Cloey insisted this was a different dog. Their son remembered seeing Cloey's car driving unusually slowly past their house the morning Max disappeared. A neighbor mentioned spotting someone matching Cloey's description near their backyard gate the previous evening. The Thompsons filed a police report, but without concrete proof, law enforcement could only document their concerns. That's when they decided to take their case to Judy Sheindlin's courtroom, seeking $5,000 in compensation, not just for Max's return, but for the emotional distress and mounting evidence of calculated deception. As the court date approached, Cloey's perfect image began showing cracks. Her social media followers questioned the timing of her rescue. Local pet organizations withdrew their support. Yet she stood firm, preparing for a legal battle that would test not just her story, but the very character she'd built in Cedar Grove. Cedar Grove police officer Mark Rodriguez sat at his desk, reviewing security footage from the Thompsons' neighborhood. After 20 years on the force, something about this case didn't sit right. The morning surveillance video from the corner grocery store showed Cloey Mitchell's blue Honda Civic passing by 6 times between 6 a.m. and 7:30 a.m., unusual for someone who lived in the opposite direction. The investigation took an unexpected turn when Mrs. Henderson, an elderly neighbor who lived 3 houses down from the Thompsons, came forward. She'd been tending to her roses that morning and noticed Cloey speaking on her phone near the Thompsons' gate. The conversation seemed intense, with Cloey constantly looking over her shoulder. When Mrs. Henderson waved hello, Cloey quickly walked away, something completely out of character for the usually friendly teen. Social media provided another layer of evidence. Cloey's Instagram posts about finding Max contained metadata that contradicted her story. The photos she claimed were taken 30 miles away actually originated from locations within Cedar Grove. More suspicious were the deleted posts from her private account, recovered through a digital forensics expert, showing her researching nearby town stray dog policies weeks before Max's disappearance. The breakthrough came from an unlikely source: Tommy, a 12-year-old who lived next door to Cloey. While walking home from school, he'd spotted Max in Cloey's garage through a partially open door. The dog wasn't barking or acting distressed, suggesting he knew his captor. Tommy, unsure what to do, took a video on his phone but waited several days before showing his parents, worried about getting Cloey in trouble. The investigation revealed a pattern in Cloey's online behavior. She'd been following several social media accounts dedicated to pet flipping, a scheme where pets are stolen and then found to collect rewards or resell them. Her browser history showed searches for how to remove pet microchips and deactivating GPS pet collars. Local veterinarians were contacted, revealing that Cloey had inquired about microchip removal at 3 different clinics, claiming she rescued strays. Each time, she left when told such procedures required proof of ownership. A receptionist remembered Cloey asking specific questions about Max during a routine visit with her own cat months before the incident. The police subpoenaed Cloey's phone records. Text messages between Cloey and an unknown number discussed plans for transporting dogs across state lines. The same number was linked to several other reported pet disappearances in neighboring counties. What started as a missing dog case was expanding into something much larger. Anonymous tips began flowing in through the police department's hotline. Other teens reported Cloey bragging about knowing ways to make easy money through pet-related schemes. A former classmate from a previous school came forward with screenshots of conversations where Cloey detailed plans to build a reputation in Cedar Grove before executing her plan. The evidence mounted on Cloey's social media profiles. While maintaining her public image as a pet rescue advocate, her private accounts told a different story. She'd been methodically building an alibi, posting about her love for animals while simultaneously connecting with individuals involved in underground pet trafficking networks. The final piece fell into place when surveillance footage from a local hardware store showed Cloey purchasing items matching those used to tamper with Max's collar and ID tags. The timestamps aligned perfectly with the timeline of Max's disappearance, creating an undeniable chain of events that would soon be presented in Judy Sheindlin's courtroom. Inside the tense courtroom, Cloey Mitchell maintained perfect posture, her pearl necklace and conservative blue dress carefully chosen to project innocence. Her voice remained steady as she recounted her version of events, weaving a tale designed to tug at heartstrings while deflecting suspicion. According to Cloey, she discovered Max wandering near a gas station in Millbrook, 30 miles from Cedar Grove. She described finding him dirty, hungry, and collarless, painting herself as a savior rather than a thief. Her eyes welled with tears as she detailed how she spent her own money on food and supplies for the allegedly abandoned dog. Cloey presented carefully edited photographs showing Max in various locations around Millbrook. She'd taken these photos in her own backyard, using different angles and lighting to disguise the familiar setting. Her phone's location services had been deliberately turned off during these photo sessions, a detail she claimed was merely coincidental. 3 character witnesses preceded Cloey's testimony. Her current cheerleading coach praised her leadership skills and community involvement. The animal shelter director where Cloey occasionally volunteered spoke about her apparent love for animals. Her elderly neighbor testified about Cloey's helpfulness, describing how she'd assisted with grocery shopping during bad weather. As Cloey continued her story, she produced fake veterinary receipts she'd created using templates from her part-time job at a local clinic. These documents suggested she'd taken immediate steps to check for a microchip and assess the dog's health. The letterhead looked convincing, but closer inspection would reveal subtle inconsistencies in the clinic's address and phone number. Her testimony took an emotional turn as she described her motivation for helping stray animals. Cloey shared a story about losing her own childhood pet, carefully crafted to mirror the Thompsons' current situation. This parallel was no coincidence. She'd learned about their previous dog's death through social media research months before executing her plan. Cloey's alibi for the morning of Max's disappearance seemed airtight at first glance. She claimed to be teaching a morning yoga class at the community center, providing a sign-in sheet with multiple signatures. However, the signatures belonged to her friends who had agreed to cover for her, a detail that would soon unravel under scrutiny. Throughout her testimony, Cloey maintained eye contact with Judy Sheindlin, attempting to project sincerity. She explained away the security camera footage of her car near the Thompsons' house, claiming she often drove that route to visit a study group. When questioned about Mrs. Henderson's observation, she dismissed it as a misunderstanding, suggesting the elderly neighbor had confused her with someone else. Cloey's voice cracked with calculated precision as she described her plans to officially adopt Max through proper channels. She presented adoption paperwork she'd started filling out, though she had never actually submitted it. The forms were dated strategically to support her timeline, but the rescue organization's policies required documentation she couldn't possibly provide. As her testimony neared its end, Cloey made a final emotional appeal. She spoke about her dreams of becoming a veterinarian and her history of helping animals in need. Her performance was compelling, but subtle inconsistencies began to surface. She mixed up dates, contradicted her earlier statements about the rescue location, and showed signs of nervousness when pressed about specific details that could verify her claims. The atmosphere in the courtroom shifted as Officer Rodriguez approached the stand, carrying a thick folder of digital evidence. Cloey's confident demeanor wavered slightly as he opened his laptop, connecting it to the courtroom's display system. The first piece of evidence was a comprehensive timeline of her cell phone's location data, obtained through a warrant. The data painted a very different picture than her testimony. On the morning of Max's disappearance, Cloey's phone had pinged cell towers near the Thompson residence multiple times between 6 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. This contradicted her claim about teaching a yoga class at the community center. The center's security cameras showed no sign of Cloey that morning, and her supposed alibi witnesses began to crack under separate questioning. A series of deleted text messages, recovered through digital forensics, revealed conversations with someone named Alex, discussing prices for purebred dogs and methods for avoiding detection. These messages dated back 3 months before Max's disappearance, showing careful planning rather than a chance encounter with a stray dog. Tommy's video footage from Cloey's garage played next. The timestamp clearly showed Max wearing his original collar, which Cloey had claimed wasn't present when she found him. More damaging was the background audio, where Cloey could be heard using the Thompson family's private command words for Max, phrases she shouldn't have known if she'd truly found him as a stray. Mrs. Henderson's testimony gained new significance when combined with security footage from her home's doorbell camera. The video clearly captured Cloey's phone conversation near the Thompsons' gate. "The camera blind spot is perfect. Yes, I'm sure they leave him out every morning around this time. No, the fence latch is easy to open." The elderly neighbor's rose garden routine had inadvertently documented crucial moments of the crime. Financial records revealed suspicious patterns. Cloey had opened a new bank account 2 months before Max's disappearance. Regular deposits matched known prices for stolen purebred dogs in underground pet trafficking circles. Her social media private messages showed connections to 3 other cases of missing dogs in neighboring counties, each following a similar pattern. The veterinary clinic receipts Cloey presented began to unravel. The forensics team discovered they were created using stolen letterhead from her part-time job. The examining veterinarian listed on the documents had been on vacation during the dates in question, and the clinic security footage showed Cloey accessing the office computer after hours. A breakthrough came when Alex Martinez, Cloey's accomplice, decided to cooperate with authorities. Facing charges in another county, he provided detailed information about their operation. Cloey had been recruiting people like him to transport stolen pets across state lines, using her clean reputation and social media presence as cover. Max wasn't their first target. He was simply the one that got them caught. The photos Cloey claimed were taken in Millbrook underwent expert analysis. Digital metadata revealed they were all taken within a 2-mile radius of her home in Cedar Grove. Background elements in the images matched her backyard and garage, carefully angled to appear as different locations. Even the timestamps contradicted her story, showing the photos were taken hours after Max's reported disappearance. Cloey's carefully crafted social media persona began to crack. Her followers noticed inconsistencies in her stories about finding Max, pointing out geographical impossibilities and timeline discrepancies. Screenshots of her deleted posts surfaced, showing premeditated research into pet theft techniques and discussions about profitable dog breeds. The community center's surveillance footage delivered the final blow. While Cloey claimed to be teaching yoga during Max's disappearance, cameras showed her car arriving at the Thompson Street at precisely 6:15 a.m. Additional footage captured her returning home at 7:45 a.m., with a distinctive golden retriever visible through her car's back window. As each piece of evidence mounted, Cloey's composed facade crumbled. Her hands trembled as she tried to explain away the contradictions. Her rehearsed responses became confused and defensive. When Judy Sheindlin questioned her about specific timestamps and locations, Cloey's answers grew increasingly incoherent, revealing the truth behind her perfect image. The turning point came when the police presented evidence of Cloey's involvement in a larger pet trafficking network. Bank records showed wire transfers from known animal trafficking organizations, disguised as payments for social media consulting. Her phone contained contact information for several people already under investigation for similar crimes in other states. Judy Sheindlin studied the mountain of evidence before her, her expression growing more severe with each document she examined. The courtroom fell silent as she began her systematic breakdown of Cloey Mitchell's elaborate scheme. Her analysis would reveal not just a simple case of pet theft, but a calculated operation that had fooled an entire community. She started with the timeline, meticulously reconstructing the morning of Max's disappearance. The cell phone data placed Cloey's device near the Thompson residence 6 times between 6 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. Her claimed alibi of teaching yoga across town was impossible given these locations. Sheindlin pulled up the community center security footage, showing Cloey's conspicuous absence during her supposed class time. Addressing Cloey directly, Sheindlin pointed to the surveillance photos from Mrs. Henderson's doorbell camera. The images clearly showed Cloey testing the fence latch the evening before Max disappeared. When Cloey attempted to explain this as a coincidence, Sheindlin countered with the recorded audio of her planning phone call. The teenager's rehearsed composure began to crack under this direct confrontation with evidence. Sheindlin moved to the financial aspects, displaying Cloey's bank statements on the courtroom screen. The regular deposits matching known prices for stolen purebred dogs created a damning pattern. Cloey's explanation about social media consulting fees fell apart when Sheindlin revealed the connections between these payments and known pet trafficking organizations. The fabricated veterinary documents drew particular attention. Sheindlin noted how Cloey had used her part-time job access to create convincing forgeries, but overlooked crucial details. The veterinarian's signature she'd copied belonged to someone on vacation during the claimed examination dates. The clinic's address contained a subtle spelling error that appeared on all the fake documents, creating a clear pattern of deception. Tommy's video footage proved crucial in Sheindlin's analysis. She focused on Cloey's use of the Thompson family's private commands for Max, knowledge impossible to have without prior observation. The background items visible in the garage matched elements from Cloey's supposed rescue photos, proving they were taken at her home rather than 30 miles away in Millbrook. Sheindlin then addressed Cloey's carefully crafted social media presence. She showed how Cloey had built a false reputation as an animal advocate while simultaneously connecting with pet trafficking networks. The deleted posts recovered through digital forensics revealed months of research into pet theft techniques, targeted specifically at valuable purebred dogs like Max. The cooperation of Cloey's accomplice, Alex Martinez, provided the final pieces. Sheindlin outlined how their operation had successfully stolen other dogs across multiple counties, using Cloey's clean reputation as cover. The timestamp analysis of Cloey's photos, combined with Max's distinctive markings, proved beyond doubt that this was no random rescue but a planned theft. As Sheindlin concluded her analysis, she addressed the broader implications of Cloey's actions. This wasn't just about stealing a beloved family pet, it was about betraying community trust, manipulating public sympathy, and participating in organized crime. The teenager's scheme had impacted not only the Thompson family but potentially many other victims across the state. Cloey's perfect facade finally shattered under Sheindlin's relentless examination. Her carefully practiced responses gave way to contradictions and emotional outbursts. When confronted with the complete timeline of her deception, from the initial planning stages through the attempted cover-up, she could no longer maintain her innocence. The truth had been methodically exposed, leaving no room for further denial. Under the weight of overwhelming evidence and Judy Sheindlin's penetrating questions, Cloey Mitchell's carefully constructed world crumbled. Tears streamed down her face, but this time they weren't calculated for effect. The real story began pouring out, revealing a scheme more extensive than anyone had imagined. Cloey's involvement in pet trafficking started 8 months ago when she met Alex Martinez through an online gaming community. Alex introduced her to an underground network specializing in stealing and reselling purebred dogs. The operation was sophisticated, targeting specific breeds in affluent neighborhoods and using social media to identify potential victims. The truth about Max's disappearance emerged in painful detail. Cloey had spent weeks watching the Thompson family's routine, noting when Max was let out in the morning. She chose their dog not just for his breed, but because his friendly nature made him easy to lure away. That Wednesday morning, she'd used treats laced with mild sedatives to keep him quiet during transport. Her social media presence as an animal rescue advocate wasn't just a cover, it was a crucial part of the operation. Cloey explained how she built trust in communities before targeting specific pets. Her volunteer work at animal shelters provided insider knowledge of microchip procedures and adoption protocols, which she used to create convincing forgeries. The network's reach extended across 3 states, with Cloey playing a key role in Cedar Grove and surrounding counties. Her perfect teenager image made her an ideal operative. Who would suspect a straight-A student and community volunteer? The operation had successfully stolen and resold 15 dogs before Max, earning thousands of dollars per animal. Cloey revealed the location of 3 other stolen dogs currently hidden in various safe houses. Max had been kept in her garage temporarily, waiting for transport to a buyer in another state. The network specifically targeted areas without comprehensive security camera coverage, using sophisticated methods to avoid detection. The financial trail exposed the operation's true scale. Cloey's new bank account had received over $25,000 in the past 6 months, carefully disguised as social media consulting fees. She confessed to using her part-time job at the veterinary clinic to gather information about valuable breeds and access official documents for forging records. Her phone contained messages with other network members, discussing prices, transportation routes, and methods for avoiding detection. The group used encrypted messaging apps and code words, showing a level of organization that stunned investigators. They even had contingency plans for situations exactly like this. If one member was caught, others would quickly relocate the stolen animals. The impact of Cloey's confession rippled through Cedar Grove. Families whose pets had mysteriously disappeared months ago suddenly had answers. The community's trust wasn't just broken, it was shattered by the revelation that their perfect teenager had orchestrated these heartbreaking crimes. Behind her composed facade, Cloey had struggled with mounting pressure. The demands from the network grew increasingly aggressive, pushing her to target more valuable dogs. Her success in Cedar Grove made her valuable to the operation, but it also made her careless. The constant fear of discovery and guilt over betraying her community's trust had started affecting her grades and relationships. Most shocking was the revelation about her childhood pet story. The emotional tale she'd shared in court was completely fabricated, designed to create sympathy and mirror the Thompson situation. Every aspect of her public persona had been carefully crafted to serve the operation's needs, from her volunteer work to her social media presence. In the hushed courtroom, Judy Sheindlin delivered her verdict with characteristic precision. Cloey Mitchell would pay the Thompsons $5,000 in compensation, not just for their emotional distress, but as a statement about the severity of her actions. The monetary penalty, however, was just the beginning of the consequences Cloey would face. Max returned home to the Thompson family that evening, their tearful reunion witnessed by news cameras and community members gathered outside the courthouse. The golden retriever showed no lasting trauma from his ordeal, his tail wagging as he bounded into Karen Thompson's arms. His homecoming sparked celebrations throughout Cedar Grove, marking the end of a nightmare that had gripped the community. Cloey's involvement with the pet trafficking network led to serious legal repercussions. The evidence gathered during her case helped authorities break up operations across 3 states, recovering dozens of stolen pets. Her phone records and banking information provided crucial leads, resulting in the arrests of 15 network members, including Alex Martinez and several high-ranking operators. The impact on Cedar Grove ran deep. Families installed security cameras and GPS-enabled pet collars. The local animal shelter implemented stricter volunteer screening procedures and enhanced their microchip verification protocols. Pet stores and veterinary clinics across the county updated their policies around proof of ownership and documentation requirements. Cloey's parents, devastated by their daughter's actions, sold their house and moved away from Cedar Grove. The community they'd called home for less than a year had become a place of whispers and sideways glances. Their daughter's betrayal of community trust had marked them as well, making their position in the neighborhood untenable. The case sparked important changes in how local law enforcement handled pet theft reports. Officer Rodriguez developed new protocols for investigating missing pet cases, incorporating digital forensics and social media analysis. His methods were adopted by neighboring jurisdictions, creating a more effective response system for similar crimes. Local schools introduced programs about digital citizenship and the consequences of online deception. Cloey's story became a cautionary tale about how social media could be used to construct false narratives and manipulate public trust. Students learned about the importance of questioning perfect online personas and recognizing warning signs of deceptive behavior. The Thompson children struggled with trust issues in the aftermath. Their son, who had once admired Cloey as a role model, now questioned the authenticity of everyone around him. Their daughter stopped walking to school alone, fearful of seemingly friendly neighbors. Family counseling helped them process the betrayal and gradually rebuild their sense of security. Cedar Grove's community spirit, though shaken, ultimately grew stronger. Neighbors created a pet watch program, coordinating with each other about suspicious activities and sharing security camera footage. The annual community festival added a pet parade, celebrating the bonds between families and their four-legged members while raising awareness about pet safety. Mrs. Henderson's rose garden became an unexpected symbol of vigilance. Her habit of morning gardening had provided crucial evidence in the case. Now, neighbors joked about her roses being the community's security system. The elderly woman's keen observation and willingness to come forward inspired others to be more aware of their surroundings. The veterinary clinic where Cloey had worked used their experience to create better security measures for confidential documents. They implemented digital tracking systems for all paperwork and strengthened their employee background check procedures. Their story helped other clinics identify potential vulnerabilities in their own systems. 1 year after the case, the Thompsons organized a community gathering to thank everyone who helped bring Max home. The event turned into an annual neighborhood celebration of community vigilance and support. Max, now sporting a high-tech GPS collar, remained a beloved local figure, his story serving as a reminder of the importance of community bonds and trust.